The Constitution was written after our forefathers overthrew the tyrannical foreign dictatorship which they fled the old world to escape. You recognize their judges with their powdered wigs. Our forefathers had funny hats too. It's like a disease. Catches on, people start dressing funny. Anyway, the heretics, they show up and they tell you to shut up. It's like, well, we don't like what you're doing. And they're like, well, you shouldn't have said anything. Now everybody's doing it. The Greeks did not ban reading. The Hebrews did not ban reading. The Romans did not ban reading. The Germans, after the collapse of the Holy Roman Empire, Italy went illiterate for 400 years, 200. And then the Byzantine Empire barely scratched out 1,000 years. And salvagers from the Muslims not being allowed to read, probably where that came from, brought depictions of the female form. They were like, this is sinful. How much are you giving me for it? Oh yeah, you're not allowed to have any of that kind of stuff. So the Germans, having not been allowed, verboten from reading for 600 years. Well, for many of them, the Bible was the first book they'd ever seen. They weren't allowed to read it. So while they're working on their ABCs, the Muslims are like, here's your stuff back. And Venice had a renaissance, a rebirth. Like, oh, look, we're Christians again. Islam is a foreign one true creator. He didn't create you. This is our promised land. So it's kind of like getting raped by a god that's like, shut up. Because if you say anything about it, they blame you. Like, shouldn't have said anything, now it's your fault. But in a Greek, Hellenistic, classical, Western, in the civilized, on the round side of the planet, we don't have a foreign, one true creator. First, do no harm, or you're not a doctor. You ain't the boss. Boom! Ah, they didn't like it. It's his fault. First, do no harm, or we'll shoot you. I don't know if that's exactly it or not. Like, when you buy an Android or any Windows or Apple, when you buy a computer, it comes with 666 pre-installed bloatware apps. Like, we need every third world computer programming sweatshop with a Windows Store template advertising to us directly. I didn't say anything when they showed the article about Mike Pence to me. So, they we're going to do it the first time. They're not going to do it. I said, I'll do it myself. He's been acting like I'm sneaky for 15 years. I'm a doorman. They're liars. They're stupid. They usually get away with it. Usually works. They don't even know how to respond when they get their asses kicked. Pain signals do not reach the brain. The experiment was a success. But it didn't kill me. That's not an argument for a stare. An earner is a stare. Here are the Saxons not recognized. I mean, they've changed their names twice. The Holy Roman Empire was recognized. Why wouldn't the Saxons be recognized? I'm just saying, because I can't be held responsible. The Jacksons are not affiliated. Note that they have been permitted to exist by virtue of the ex-Saxon, the decency not to use Jackson. The Jacksons are not Saxons. Like, I should lower myself. The Saxons are sons of Sarai, Saxon, Saxon. Jackson is Jack's son. Son of Jack. Son of the goddamn devil. Get back in your boat. But the S looks just like a J. No, it doesn't. The J looks like an I, and the I looks like a Y. The S looks like a snake. Yoxen! They're snipped, right? They're the Jews? Or no? So chivalry and chauvinism are different. In France, some people capture the wives of their enemies as trophies. It's a nomadic, feudalistic, slave raiding culture. The Irish brought the Iron Age to Europe, and were like the ones that got away. But where'd those slaves go? Show up. And we caught a woman reading a book. Well, I mean, it's not like that anymore, right? Like, the people forget the Angles, the Bretons, the Picts, the Celts, well, they're all Celts, but the Gauls. Gaelic means Gaulish. Presumably the Franks, there's a reason the Franks were targeted. Charles Martel met the Saracens in glorious combat and defeated them gloriously, but they didn't leave. So I guess he parlayed. For some reason, Charlemagne grew up with a fan club. Turned out to be a real prince. Anyway, yeah, the Franks, Frankfurt, Germany. France is named for the noble house of the Franks. A woman who can read is a threat to the usurper, because he has somebody else's name in his underwear. He doesn't own any of this. Talking about making women priests now, and it's like asking for trouble. I guess they know what they're doing. I mean, they did make the Protestant Catholic Church something like that, and a gay priest, which is kind of like an experiment that you see. But that the church is supposed to be eternal truth. But you don't know if the news is messing with you. Better not be messing with them. Why should the news mess with me? Because we used to have a thing called freedom of the press, and then it got mixed up with intelligence. Well, as long as we're mixing it up like that, why don't we just give the cops their own newspaper and then tell them they can psychoanalyze whoever they want? Psychology. It's an inexact science as opposed to math, which would be a science. So now, you know, we must guard against the unwarranted acquisition of power, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. Okay, they put the kibosh on that in Vietnam, so the stage is protected under the same customs as, you know, it does not speak the words falsely in court when you're under oath, or Shakespeare doesn't miss a line, does not speak the words falsely. It applies across the stage. Coach, the traveling band, is protected by custom, because it's not true what they're saying. Just the blood's not real. The news has freedom of the press because the public has a right to know what happened wherever something happened. You don't get all up in the foreign policy hookers. It's not open. It's not a fire sale on foreign policy. Act like it's got something to do with something. You're peaceniks. You're commies. You want the international dope trade for yourself. The government sells drugs. Why else would we tolerate them? Yes, old people need drugs. The hippies are a plague sent by the foreign one true creator. They're more colonists. They protest the war, and then our boys come back and they spit on them. Baby killer. They legalized abortion and called us baby killers. Which abortion shouldn't have been such a big deal if it weren't for the puritanical, the witch hunt. Democracy owes no sacred right to life. Democracy has doctors and lawyers and police, and usually has an army of some kind. This is not a church. It's not blasphemy. You want the job? First, do no harm, or we'll kill you. Just swear to whatever God you expect to meet if you violate the oath, because we're going to save him a trip. It's called Greek thought. I know it's far out, man. If you're experienced with any kind of thought, you might want to try it. If that's allowed. I shall not prescribe abortive unguents or chemicals, poison plants designed to kill the fetus, because this is likely to kill a mother as the child, whether prescribed by a doctor or not. So we don't do that. You can get that from whoever, get it from some wizard. When contraception was banned, it was a chastity belt, an iron diaper with a hole in it, so you don't get raped by some wizard. Probably cause tetanus. The idea that every sperm must count. Like, we gotta raise an army in a hurry. The whole attitude of like sneaking around and doing all kinds of dirt. We don't have that. We have inside these hallowed walls, men of learning pursue their noble assembly. Why there's no reason to protest. Say your piece. It's a problem. Not a problem for me. You're in the wrong district. Point is, we don't ban talking or reading or drawing. Look at ancient Rome. There's penises all over every wall. Nobody cares. Live your life, peasant. I've never committed medical malpractice. This is inherent. This is integral to the agenda that's liquidating your children in lieu of hostile takeover. Medical malpractice. Abortion, first, do no harm, means for diplomatic purposes, like a Christian turning the other cheek. The Jews, it's a first breath, there's a kosher element. It's the law. The prophecy's fulfilled. You don't need to sneak around looking for Jesus over here. You'll know if you see him. Sebastian. Never-ending story. Yeah, that kid was gay. He was half Air Force. Here to go. Let's try an experiment. Let's put a grape inside a uterus and then punch it until it squishes. Like, I try to be a good boy. Sometimes I fail. Sometimes I go through the motions. Do what now? Well, I don't think that I punched through a uterus, but she stopped asking. Play Muslim games, win Muslim prizes. I'm sure there's an 18-year-old out there in the world somewhere who could punch through a uterus. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I didn't do it. Didn't happen when I was there. With the puritanical, racist, gay, snake oil, atheist, bullshit con artist space program, please sit down.